Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anisul again back with another video. In this video I'm going to talk about a simple but effective ROI calculator that you can use for your real estate business. Okay, so this is the calculator if useful for the people who are running Facebook ad campaigns. Okay, because if you are spending your dollars behind ads, you need to be able to come up with a system to track the results, because at the end of the day results matters. You cannot spend behind ads blindly, right? So there got to be have a system for tracking the ROI. So this is a simple but very effective ROI calculator that we use for ourselves and for our clients as well. Let me explain how does it work and you will understand. I'll put a download link in the description below, so go ahead and download it first, and you can make sure you download a copy first, and then you will be able to use it. Okay, or create another copy in Google Drive. Okay, so how does it work? So in this calculator, actually the end goal is to measure how much you are spending and how many sales you are closing, right? But before I begin, I admit that the sales doesn't come overnight in the real estate industry. I totally get that, and you have to nurture your leads. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let's just see how does these things work. If you are running different type of ad campaigns, obviously you have to test the different type of ads and see which one is performing better. At the left side, there is called ad campaign name. Okay, so let's call it ad campaign name, where that's it, where you can name it with the type of campaign you are running. So I put some imaginary number here, so don't just confuse yourself with the numbers I put in here. This is just to explain yourself. So you just fill it up with your campaign data. So let's say you run an ad which is kind of a video and lead ad combination, and if you spend and write down the spend you have to spend so far, for it can be for a month or for a week, and as a result, obviously your main goal for most of the Facebook ad campaigns will be to generate leads. Let's write down the leads you have generated. You should have a tracking system. You can get this data from either from your lead capture form, this statistics, or the backend form that you are using, just like such as ClickFunnels or any other landing page software you are using in your website for tracking the leads. Or if you are even collecting leads from Facebook inside, just come over here and write down the number of leads that you have, that this campaign has been able to generate for you. So at the right hand side, you can see that I have created some benchmarks for each of these campaigns. So these are the statistics that I put for myself. You can, however, change based on your preference, but what it does is it color code different cells based on the results is generated. The four remaining columns are here is obviously the steps are you spend some ad, then that will generate some leads, and you will try to get an appointment with them, and a certain percentage of them will show up, and then you'll try to close the sales. Okay, but I understand, once again I'm telling you that I understand that it's not that straightforward in the real estate industry. You've got to have a very few percentage of people will come for appointments. A majority of them will not even close in the first few weeks or months, or it may take a longer time. But this is a metrics, or this is a tracker for tracking the immediate results that you are generating. Okay, but byproduct or the long-term sales will be an added bonus, will not be tracked here. So let's say you spend for a month, spend $2,284 for in video ad, for example, and as a result of that you generated 200 leads, for example. Your metrics for the lead generation, so you need to know whether the generated leads or the amount of leads that you have collected for the ad spend is okay or not. So in this column here, we created a benchmark or a modifier which is called cost per lead. So if your cost per lead, so once you put the number of leads generated here, it will divide the ad spend or the leads generated, and that will bring the results with cost per lead. So for the 200 if let's say if the generated leads is 250, it will calculate the cost per lead automatically. And also it will color code the backend, so you will understand by the green I mean it's good. So the benchmarks are here set up in this way, that if the cost per lead is between $5 to $30, that means this ad is performing well. Okay, so let's say I generated just 25 leads from this campaign. You see that my cost per lead is now way beyond $60, so it's turning into a red. So that's a sign for me that I should have watched this. I should have looked into this ad campaign and I'd either kill it or modify it. Let me write back the original number here is 200. So considering that the 11.42, which is a good cost per lead metric, so I know that the CPL, which is cost per lead, is good for this particular campaign. So now obviously the second part will be, once the lead comes in, so you or someone from your team or office will follow up with this lead, and you'll immediately try to get an appointment for the open house or any other phone calls. Maybe you want to get an appointment with them just to either to buy or sell the home. Considering the second step, so you need to calculate how much you are costing for per appointments. Okay, so now typically we saw that a certain percent of, obviously not all of them will become a very strong lead, so a certain percentage of them will be. So here's a lead to appointment ratio calculator. So here's the metrics is here. If your lead to appointment ratio is above 10%, which is, that means it's very good. That means if for out of every 100%, 10 people is closing, you can close for the appointments. That means you are performing very good. And between 6 to 9 is good. Below average, industry average is 3 to 5%, and bad is 1 to 2%. Let's say you called 200 or reached out to these 200 leads somehow, and then out of these 200 you were able to close 10 people. Okay, so that means your lead to appointment ratio is 5%, which is called average. That's why it's yellow marked, so which is not bad or not so good either. So let's see, if I change this number to 15, it will turn into green. Okay, you can I think you get the idea of how it's working. If the results is like 25, okay, so you see its average lead to appointment ratio is 12.5%, which is very good, but it doesn't happen usually. But you get the idea of you at one click you will understand that whether you should, what to do with this ad and what not to do. And obviously in the third step, not all the appointments will turn into a show up, so a certain percentage of them will show up again for the appointments. So here in this column you will write down that how many of the appointees will actually can show up and meet you. Here's the metrics for the appointment to show up ratio. It's less than 50%, it's more than 50% is good. So average 20 to 40%, bad below 20%. Okay, so let's say out of these 25 people, 4 showed up. That means only 16% of the is the appointment to show up ratio. That means that you have to work on this portion to increase the show up rate. So if you can get at least 10 people here, so that means it's beyond 40%. That means your average are doing good. So now at the final stage, you will try to close these sales from this show up. If let's say here you for every 10 show up you collected, you are able to make 1 sale. That means your show up to close sales ratio is now 10%. So here you can see the metrics as I have written here. Good is below greater than 50%, average 20 to 50%, bad is below 20%. So here out of 10 I are able to close, let's say if I am able to close just 1 sale, that means the show up ratio is 10%. If I could get at least 4 people here, that means it's 40%, which is average, or show up to close ratio, which is it's not bad, but it's average, or you can consider it as a good metrics. So depending on the property value or the industry or you're using in, these metrics will vary. Remember, these are just a standard metrics that I used. These are not I don't recommend it to follow it as it is. you are welcome to modify it as per your need, but I just created a system that you can use repeatedly. So in this way you can just come up here and continue to track the results out of this from these different ad campaigns. Okay, now I just created some different type of ad campaigns. For example, if I run a engagement ad, I can run these metrics here for the traffic to landing page, video view with CTA, dynamic listing ad, messenger chatbot. There are whole different type of ads you can test. So you just write down your testing names here, and also track these metrics at the in these columns here, and these metrics will be calculated automatically. One important takeaway from here is never to settle down. Always you have to test. You never know which ad set is going to be performing well. Don't settle down, just test. Okay, now I show you how you can edit or change these metrics from the as per your need. For example, if you for your industry, or if your preference is set, let's say you want good to be to $5 to $30, you just come over here, go to the format, go to conditional formatting. So here you can see I wrote down the conditional format values. Here the rules is set is like that, if the cell is greater than 60, if there are any results greater than 60, it will turn into a red color. Okay, so you can set it like 50. So if it's become 50, then it will, if any of the data from this cell is over 50, it will turn into red. Let's see, you can see here that now the color has been changed of these cells. See, so simply you click on the cell and then set your conditions however you like, and also these are very easy to change here, and also change the metrics from this column or the cell here, and you will be able to track as per your need. I think you get the idea of how you should be tracking this ROI calculator. Another thing I need to mention before I finish this video, you can see here that if you generate 200 leads, and out of these 200 you are able to, if you are able to get only 10 appointments, you can see that a huge portion, that means almost 190 people are left unattended. So what do you do with these people? You need to have a system, you need to have a funnel to continuously touch the base with these people, and your main goal is not to sell. Your main goal will be to be on top of their mind. So you can do that with the nurturing of these leads. Okay, so I'll discuss about that later in a later video, but for now just understand that a lot of percentage of people are still unattended. So you do not just focus on these leads here. These are just hot leads or hot sales. You will see very less numbers here maybe, but the results will be more long lasting if you can nurture the remaining leads in a proper way, in a way that they do not feel like distracted or being sold. That's the thing you should remember, and good luck using this ROI calculator. If you have any comment or suggestion regarding this calculator, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I'll appreciate it. Thank you very much.